At this time, I would like to introduce our speaker, Charles K.
Hi, everybody. I'm an addict. My name is Charles. Thanks, Brittna, for inviting me here to speak today. It's always a privilege, and it's a responsibility that I have to carry the message to the addict who still suffers. I've been clean since October the 5th, 1978. I was one of those people that came here, got a white chip, and never left.
That's right.
You know, this program has taken somebody who was a hope to die, dope fiend, ex-con, generally not good person. I was very violent. I had no concern for your welfare or my welfare. I was interested in getting high.
Yeah.
And I did whatever was necessary to accomplish that fact. And if I hurt you, I hurt you, and so be it. That was just collateral damage if you were doing what I was doing.
Sure.
I got here because I got to that point that so many of us get where I was just a state of desperation. I was sick and tired of going to prison. I was sick and tired of being dope sick. I was sick and tired of living on the streets, not knowing where, who I was going to have to rob next, or what I was going to break into to steal, or what I was going to do to get the next fix. And I was in a hotel. I think it cost me like $10 for the night. It was one of them old hotels that had a sink in it, no toilet, and a bed that probably had been there for 50 years, And it's like, I remember waking up and I was just tired. I was so tired I didn't even want to do the wake-up shot. Now, I'd never been there, okay? I'd never been in that position. I always wanted to wake up about 2 in the morning, not early until after that. And it was like, I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know what to do. When I got clean, there weren't treatment centers. There were jails and institutions. And I wasn't looking to go to any of them. There was methadone clinics, so I figured I'd go to one of them. I went to the clinic and told them my situation. And the lady there goes, well, you're going to have to come back in a few days because there's a waiting list. I'd been on methadone quite a few times, and there was never a waiting list. You showed up, you showed them your tracks, you threw a few dollars at them, and they gave you your dose and said, be here at 5 in the morning to get your dose or you don't get it, And that was just, that was the game plan. And it's like, I remember I told the lady, I said, what am I supposed to do for a couple of days? I need something right now. I don't know if I can make a couple of days. Now, I wasn't afraid of killing myself. I was afraid of what I was going to have to do to get that monkey off my back for a couple of more days. Every ounce of my body wanted to get high. That nagging voice in my head did not shut up. All it said was, you need more, 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 more. It was relentless. At this time, I'd been out of prison for about 10 months. I had a job with Coca-Cola. I was living in Texas. That's where I'm from. And I'd missed a day of work and came back into work, and my boss asked me where I was, and I, like any good dope fiend, told a lie. Told him I'd had a car wreck and was in the emergency room and tied up, and couldn't make it. That sounded like a good story. A few hours later, he calls me back in his office and he goes, "Charles, you're a liar." Now, I really hadn't had anybody confront me other than the police for many, many years, They were the only ones calling me on my stuff. And he goes, "What's wrong with you?" And before I could really even think, I'm telling this guy that I was a drug addict and I was trying to get help. And no sooner than I said those words, fear like I've never known overcame me. Because I just knew, man, this dude's getting ready to call the cops on me. I'm getting ready to go back to jail. I was already a habitual offender, and I was looking at a mandatory life sentence for any felony I caught. I'm 25 years old, and I'm looking at Texas. You had to do 20 calendar to even come up for parole on a life sentence. I go, oh, this is looking bleak. Something's got to change here. And he said, well, we can send you to a detox. He goes, the only catch is it's in Louisiana. And I said, well, that's not really a problem. I got a motorcycle. I think I can make it there. And this was a Monday. I had to report to this detox by Wednesday at 7 a.m. So I started detoxing myself. That meant I quit shooting dope, but I was taking pills, and smoking, or drinking, or whatever else. That was my detox till I got to the detox. And I've been doing a lot of dope, and it's like I got to the detox at exactly 6:59 a.m. doing my last bit of everything as I went up to the door, not knowing what to expect. I'd never been to detoxes or anything like that. I'd always kicked in jail, in the cell, cold turkey. That was just what you did. And I get there, they open the door, and then they take me through another door, and that door's got that unique sound. That jail door that clangs, and then that key turns and click, They got those at the nut house and the jailhouse. And it's like, ooh, I don't know about this. I'm coming here voluntarily. I'm not being, locked up in here. Shit. And, I get there and I'm high as hell. And a couple hours later, I could see I'm coming down, and I remember I went up to the nurse's station and I said, I think I need something. I'm coming off of a pretty, significant addiction right here. Now, everybody else in this place was alcoholics. I had them going through DTs and all that stuff, but I was the only drug addict in there. And the lady looked at me and she goes, "Hon, we don't give you anything. You can have some orange juice and honey." She goes, "There's a doctor and a nurse on staff 24/7. If you go into convulsions or something, we'll be here for you. It'll be okay." So I'm starting to reconsider my idea. This is almost worse than jail. Because in jail, sometimes you could get something. There was nothing here. So I was supposed to be there a week. I think maybe 8, 9, 10 days later, I remember somebody in a white coat coming up to me and telling me that we think you need to go somewhere else for some more help. And I said, oh, you're probably right. You know, because my mind is made up. You unlock that door, I'm getting on the bike and I'm going to cop. That's all there is to it. I didn't know anybody where I was, but I know I was going to be able to go cop somewhere. And the guy said, well, your job is said they'll pay for it to send you somewhere else. And the somewhere else was a halfway house in Nebraska. Now, I've never been to Nebraska. They literally took me out of that detox, drove me to the airport, put me on a plane, and sent me to Nebraska. I get to Omaha, I get off the plane, there's somebody waiting on me. As I'm getting off the plane, it's starting to snow. Now, I'm from South Texas. It don't snow in South Texas. I've got blue jeans, Harley shirts, and boots. I don't even think I had a coat because it wasn't cold enough to have a coat on the bike yet. And I'm in Nebraska. They take me to the halfway house. They get me in, and then an hour or so later, a guy comes walking around asking people if they want to go to the NA meeting. He comes up to me and says, you want to go to the NA meeting? I said, I don't know. What's an NA meeting? He goes, Narcotics Anonymous. I said, sign me up. Now, all I heard was narcotics. So I'm thinking this might not be too bad. Here I am in a foreign land, Nebraska, and they're asking me to go someplace for narcotics. I had money because my job was paying me while I was gone. So I had a little pocket full of change. The meeting was the next day. So now that little voice in my head was shutting up a little bit because I'd convinced myself that we're getting ready to go cop. And all y'all know what that's like. When you convince yourself you're going to cop, you get calm a little bit. You settle out because you know, all right, the reward is coming. Well, we go to the meeting. I remember absolutely nothing about the meeting. I remember I walked in there and I looked around. I'm trying to figure out who's got what. You all do that. You know, you go in, oh yeah, that's the pothead there. That one over there got some pills. That might be the cokehead. This is the guy that's got the good stuff. I went and sat next to the biker. Meeting's going on. And I'm like looking around. Finally, I nudged the guy and I said, is this Narcotics Anonymous? He goes, yeah. I go, well, where's the narcotics? He looked at me and he goes, keep coming back. Now, you got to understand that I am absolutely 100% confused by now. I'm at a narcotics place for narcotics, and there's no narcotics. Somebody's telling me to keep coming back, which I have no clue what that means. You know? So the meeting is wrapping up, and they're getting ready to do the chips. And they go, is anybody here for their first time or want to find a new way to live or whatever they said? I don't know what they said. My brain had convinced me that you got to get one of them chips. And they know you're not a narc. Then you'll be able to talk. So they go, anybody here want a white chip? Man, I flew out of my chair. Going up there to get that white chip from this guy. And some are sicker than others, huh? The guy who gave me my white chip told me something that has been true for over 43 and a half years. He told me, you never have to use it. Nobody had ever told me that. They always told me I needed to quit doing this drug and do another drug. Nobody ever told me I could do none. He said, please come back, we need you. Nobody had needed me for a long, long time. I got put out on the streets when I was 14 and never looked back. You know, the last few years of my addiction were about my addiction. They weren't about no relationships or no family or nothing like that. They were about the drugs. When he said those words, my mind went quiet. For some reason, I knew they weren't lying. I didn't understand anything else. But I got that hope.
Yeah.
That I definitely needed. My time in recovery has been everything but what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell it like it is.
That's right.
I'm one of those people that had to do everything for themselves for so long. The idea of asking for help was as foreign to me as anything else. And I tried to do it myself time and time and time and time again, and I failed every single time until I asked for help. You know, I got sponsored. I started working steps. My life started to change a little. As it changed, my addiction to drugs stopped. I was completely abstinent. I was going to meetings. I was working steps. I was involved. But then the thing that we don't talk about too often is my addiction took up 4 other places.
That's right.
Okay? We're real quick to talk about we're not using, and as long as I don't use, it's okay.
Come on, Charles.
Well, I'm here to kind of tell you that's a lie.
That's right.
I got the disease of addiction. It doesn't say I got the disease of drug addiction. I got the disease of addiction. And if my disease is active, I'm in active addiction. I'm in a relapse. And I've relapsed many times, never on drugs. I got clean. I picked up a sex addiction. You know, I hadn't known what that felt like for years. You know what I'm talking about. All of a sudden, new things awaken. Now I'm pursuing that like I did drugs. And then all of a sudden I'm sitting in a meeting. I think I slept with everybody in there. I didn't like that feeling. You know? I realized, man, that ain't right. You know? I got my disease of addiction, got obsessed with work. And now I gotta make the cheddar, you know? I gotta work, work, work. The more I work, and I can justify it because I'm being self-supporting, you know? Seventh tradition, you know? We can work the program into this and justify it. Or I've got an old lady now, I gotta pay the rent. You know? My first year of being clean, I thought I could still write hot checks and pay the rent. Till they arrested me. And was truly baffled that I got arrested for that. You know? It's my brain. I'm not doing it to get drugs. I'm doing it to pay for a place to live. I had to relearn everything because what I brought in here from the streets did not make me an acceptable, responsible, and productive member of society. I had to learn how to do that. And it was a lot of trial and error with me. Now, if I'd have listened, there might not have been so much trial and error as success and satisfaction. But I didn't do that. I had to do it my way. And my way caused pain and suffering. Because I think I'm addicted to pain and suffering. Some of y'all are going to understand that. Some of you won't. But, you know, I can handle pain and suffering. And I got a high tolerance. And I can drive. And my knees aren't going to buckle. I'm just going to stand up to it. That's not a good thing. That's not a character asset. That's a character defect for me. You know, and I have to recognize that, and I have to deal with that. And I deal with that by asking for help, by humbling myself and saying, I don't know. I need you to teach me. You know, I had a hard time with the steps when I first got here because, you know, get to that first one, okay. The second one, we got the big H. You know, talking about power greater than you. That can restore you to sanity. And then they hit you with the third one. You know, they try to ease you in and then boom! Here's the God word. Oh, it's some kind of something else, you know. I don't know what they're looking for, but I'm not too keen on this. I was raised a Catholic. Went to Catholic school, had nuns and priests whooping my ass, you know. And when I heard about God, that's what I thought about. And that isn't something I wanted. And I remember telling my sponsor, I don't know if I can do this. You're asking me to commit my life and my will to something that, in my opinion, is no good. And he was kind and compassionate. He sat me down and said, Charles, I need you to think of something that you can make a commitment to. Like you made the commitment to drugs. I want you to pick something, put it on paper that if the entire room of people you know said you're full of shit, that you shouldn't believe that way, that you're still going to believe that. And I did that. I came up with a concept I could believe, that I could commit to, that I could stand for, regardless of whatever y'all said or any ridicule I got. It was mine. It was my understanding of a higher power. When I was able to do that, making that decision was quite simple. The only thing they don't tell you about that is when you make that decision, there's really no reneging on it. Okay? You might have this illusion that you get to take your will and life back, but you really don't.
That's right.
And that's where the pain and suffering comes in. You know, because you think you can run some shit, and you've already made that decision to let God of your understanding run it. Well, my God doesn't always run it the way I think it should be run. And it's taken me many, many years and many, many times of working the steps to get to a point of surrender with that God of my understanding and with myself that I'm better off keeping my hands out of the pot. You know, when I let him take care of things, I get what we talk about here, a life second to none. You know, for all practical purposes, I should not be standing here. Just like many of us sitting in this audience shouldn't be here today. We should be dead somewhere or locked up for the rest of our lives because we're really just a burden on society. But today we have a new life.
That's right.
Today we've been given a second chance. Today we're able to live out that hope that maybe we saw something on TV or a movie and go, man, that'd be nice if that could happen. You know? Well, it can. The sky's the limit. There is no boundaries. There is nothing that you cannot do if you make that commitment and you turn that will and life over to God as you understand it. Remember, this is the thing with all the power. Greater than everything. And if you don't have that, I pray you get it. Because this program doesn't work unless you have that.
That's right.
Now, you can be abstinent and you can come around here for 50 years. But if you're not working them steps and you're not incorporating God into your life, you're abstinent. That ain't about recovery.
That's right.
You know? I'm about recovery today. You know, I had a responsibility as a member of Narcotics Anonymous to carry the message to the addict who still suffers. What message do you want me to carry to him? You want me to carry that message of hope? Or do you want me to bring all my BS because I'm not working principles in my life and I'm out there doing everything I did using except not getting high and talking about I'm a member? I've done that too. You know? Being clean and living dirty. It's okay if I steal from Home Depot. They got the money. They ain't gonna miss these two things that I just boosted. Right? It's okay to cheat on my taxes. The government got their money. That's real justifiable. But I'm supposed to be honest, right? I haven't read anywhere where it says, here's the exceptions to being honest. Here's where you get to not be honest. Here's where you can lie. You know, I haven't found that yet. And I've had the privilege of being around here long enough to, like somebody said last night, I'm one of them people that got here when we had a white book and 5 pamphlets. That's what our literature amounted to. You know, where everybody helped everybody.
That's right.
They weren't too busy. A newcomer come through the door, he was surrounded and carried till they could walk on their own. They were pretty much kidnapped. I mean, that was it. You didn't have a choice. You coming. Here's where we're going. Here's this is going to happen here. You're going to be over here. We're picking you up right now. We're beating on your door. No excuses. That doesn't happen a lot today. You know? A lot of ways we've abdicated our responsibility to others.
That's right. Come on, Charles.
You know? Our responsibility is to those people walking in the door, not to send them down the road to some place, but to help them right there. You know, you don't have to go through treatment to get clean. You don't have to have insurance to get clean. You have to have a desire. I mean, when I got here, they said you had to have an honest desire.
That's right. That's right.
And they would just straight up ask you, are you done? Or you just camping out for a little bit. Because you know how we do that. We camp out for a little bit, we get a little healthy, and then we're off on the next run. But we was honest about that. Well, I think I'm just camping out. Oh, that's fine. Keep coming back. But we understand that you're just camping out.
Right.
You're not serious about recovery. You're not serious about changing your life. You're just looking to get the heat off of you or the old lady off of you or probation or something like that. You're all welcome. But you know, to be a member, to be part of something that is divinely inspired and divinely orchestrated, you got to make some change.
That's right, Charles.
You know, I can't stand here with 43 years and be acting and talking like I did 43 years ago. If I'm doing that, then I'm not working a program. I'm being complacent in my own life. I'm not doing what's necessary to make me an acceptable, responsible, and productive member of society.
Back here.
You know, amazingly enough, I am that today.
Yeah. Oh, go to that webpage.
When I walk down the street, somebody isn't looking at me and going, "There's an ex-con dope fiend."
Okay. And
You
then
know, for years and years,
Alright,
that's
we
what
go
they looked
here.
and that's what they saw.
convention.
Because I dressed, I acted, I carried myself just like I did when I was on the streets, in the rooms. And then something happened, and it's like, you know what? You're gonna change. You got to change.
Right.
And sometimes that change starts on the outside. I need to cut the hair, shave, clean my ass up a little bit, wear some nice clothes, you know, be presentable. And that can help facilitate the change on the inside. Because I can see something on the outside, and I can't always see it on the inside. Now, if I am surrounding myself with people in recovery and I'm making friends and I've got sponsor and sponsees and stuff like that, then I'm going to be able to start seeing that change on the inside, because they're going to be able to reflect that back to me. They're going to be able to go, "Oh man, I remember when," and that ain't the way it is now, you know. But that takes time. You know, we're in a society that's the instant society. You know, you got to have it right now. 2 clicks, ask Google, you know, get an answer, and be done with it, you know. That ain't NA. NA is not that instant fix. It can give you instant relief by walking in the door and sitting down and knowing that you're surrounded by people just like you in many shapes, sizes, and forms, that we're all the same. We all suffer with that despair, that hopelessness, that being tired and thinking that, why doesn't my life ever change? Because I never changed. You know, my big thing was, my change would involve, you know, there's 5 things wrong with me. I'll change half of one. And then talk about I changed, and then be all indignant when nothing would be different, you know? Y'all know what I'm talking about. You know, and then be talking about, this don't work. They lying. They all full of it. I don't know what's going on. Why you keep saying that? You're just lying to me. Well, no. When I do truly change, my life is better.
Yes, sir.
I become happy, joyous, and free.
Yes, sir.
I have serenity. I remember the first day I felt serenity, I thought I had the flu. I wasn't thinking about getting high, but I was calm. just calm. And I remember I went, man, feel my head. Do I have a fever? I look sick. Something's wrong. They go, well, what's wrong? I go, everything's calm. Just peaceful. And I go, oh, that's serenity. I lived a life of chaos. Somebody was always after somebody. You know, whether it was another dope fiend or the police. There was this, that, guns blazing, lying here, lying there. I got in here and that stopped. And I didn't understand that. You know, I'd lived so many years the other way, I thought that was the norm. So now I'm abnormal. You know, I resisted at the change because I didn't know what it would make me. But then I look back and it's like, I don't want to be this. Why am I so afraid to be something new? If I have that belief, I have that connection with that power greater than me, then I know that all I'm going to be is better. I'm not going to be worse ever. So by surrendering to this change, I'm just going to be better. Whatever that means for you, whatever that means for me. And I can look back over the years and see that progression of better. My better today is way different than my better 5 years ago. You know, what I'm willing to accept and put up with today is a whole lot less.
Yes, sir.
You know,
That's right.
I've worked hard to get where I'm at.
That's right, Charles.
I just spent a year doing the steps again, and I did them in a very specific way to increase my conscious contact with my God.
Oh, yes. Come on, big man.
It's transformative. Because in a year's time, there's a major difference in me. And it's something that I want to continue to pursue, you know, because we talk about it here. This is not a religious, but a spiritual program. And I don't care if you're atheist, agnostic, Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, Jewish, whatever. You got to tap into that to get 100% of what we offer.
Yes. Come on.
You know? We make promises to you throughout our literature. Throughout. You know, we don't have just 10 or 12 of them. We got a bunch.
That's right.
And if you don't know them, then get in the book and start looking them up. Read, you'll find them. And all of them can come true in your life multiple times. But it requires responsibility from you to get hooked in with the spiritual side of the program.
Yes.
You know, it's not easy. It's not hard. It's hard when you're trying to do that and everybody around you is acting crazy.
That's right.
So you know what? I quit hanging out with the crazies. I'm hanging out with the ones that are doing what I'm doing.
That's right.
And it's like, if you don't understand that, I'm sorry, but I can't have that in my life today.
That's right, Charles.
You know, I don't need that crazy anymore. There's a time I needed it, but I'm kind of like moving on from that. And I know that there's people that are the same way I am, and I have to get with them and I have to stay with them.
That's right.
You know, I've been involved in service ever since I got clean. When I had, maybe 2 weeks clean, I was at that halfway house. The fog's lifting a little bit, and I noticed that at the meetings, there were some pretty women. And I told this other guy who had a few days less than me, I go, man, we need to get a meeting here at the halfway house. And I'm thinking the only reason I'm wanting that is to get the women in.
Right. Right.
So I went to that meeting, and I went out there on that literature table and I said, you keep them busy and I'll get some of that literature. So I went over there boosting the literature, you know. I'm boosting one of everything because I knew that they had to have that, but I didn't know what you did with it, you know. And like, we need to start a meeting. And neither one of us knew nothing about starting no meeting. We just need to do one, you know. And thank goodness some other people came along and straightened that out, you know. But we got that meeting started, you know. I've done service on every level there is, from the most important level at the group to the least important at the world. You know, I'm still involved in my home group, the How We Recovered group in Leesburg, Florida. I sponsor people. I went a long time where I didn't sponsor newcomers. Everybody I sponsored had double digits of recovery. And about 3 years ago, something came on me and said, you know what? What kind of example are you putting out there? That you're not sponsoring newcomers. Yeah, they're crazy. Yeah, they got drama. Yeah, they got issues. But isn't that what you're supposed to be doing? Sharing experience, strength, and hope?
Yes.
I started sponsoring newcomers. And they're crazy. They got drama. They got issues. You look at them, you tell them stuff, and you remember when you sat right there and you watch them do exactly what you did. Ignore everything you said and do what they want to do. And it's been quite refreshing for me. You know, to get a glimpse back on how I used to be and realize that nothing's changed. The drug names have changed, the faces have changed, but the insanity of addiction has not changed. You know, it's still just as prevalent today as it was when I was out there. You know, I'm an old guy now. I'm a grandfather. You know, none of my kids or my grandkids have ever seen me high. You know, and I hope they never do. I've got a good understanding that if I keep doing what I'm doing and I do more, because I can't just sit on the has-beens, I got to keep doing something new. Then there's no reason why they'll ever see me high. You know, there's no reason why I'll ever have to go back and use and live a life of degradation. You know, we talk about how the disease progresses. Well, you heard where I was when I got clean. I can't even imagine what the progression from there is in 40 years. Okay? And that's what I get to look forward to. The best case scenario. Okay? I have to remember this stuff. I remember my last day using like it happened 10 minutes ago. I never forget that. And it baffles me that, oh, well, I kind of forgot what it was like. Well, maybe your life wasn't like mine because it had made an impression, you know. But I don't have to do that anymore, you know. I'm grateful, and you know, my gratitude speaks when I care and share with others in a way. I'm always willing to help the newcomer, regardless. You know. Now that don't mean I have to just co-sign all the crazy. But if they ask for help, I need to help.
That's right, Charles.
You know? That's what we do. That's why this thing works. That therapeutic value of one addict helping another is without parallel. We don't just use these words because they were convenient. They have meaning. Nothing is equal to that. Nothing. Let that sink in for a second. You know, you read these texts and you read this literature, and those words are in there for a reason. They have meaning. They're not just to fill the page so we can sell a book. You know, I've been fortunate enough to be involved in writing of the basic text. I spent a few years traveling around the United States doing that. I've been fortunate enough to watch this fellowship grow from like maybe 1,100 meetings in the world when I got clean, most of them in California. I don't know how many meetings are here in Georgia, but there might be that many meetings here in Georgia right now. You know, we're in every continent except Antarctica. You know, our literature is translated into what, 30-something different languages? You know, there's millions and millions of addicts that are, you know, getting that hope, finding a new way to live drug-free. You know, our message is free. Thank you for letting me share.